Hello, welcome back to Galactic Reviews.
Hey!
And we got done watching the Tales of the Empire little TV shorts show on Disney Plus for Star Wars. Kind of like Tales of a Jedi, but just Empire sort of tales on certain Empire characters, Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee.
Two of the most irrelevant characters ever.
What did you think of the first three episodes? Because I thought they were pointless.
Yeah, I thought the same way.
Like we already kind of knew that she was one of the few survivors of the Night Sister clan from that got killed off by Grievous. We already kind of knew that.
Yep.
We kind of thought she was one of the last. There was one other character in the Jedi Survivor games that is also a Night Sister that survived, but other than those two, that's all I know of, and all that I I didn't think any of the Night Sisters should have survived. But two seems. I hope two's the limit because if any more of them survive, I'm gonna kind of be angry a little bit. But yeah, overall, the first three episodes I thought were pointless and disliked. They were on a character that could have been more explained as to why she was so devoted to Thrawn, why she was so important to Thrawn, why she had such a trust in Thrawn and why Thrawn had such a trust in her. What was the give and take? And there was none of that. He essentially just trusted her because he wanted to. So
Pretty much just sums up the first three episodes right there.
the first episode, I can kind of see what they were doing, but the second and third episode, they were pointless. They just were. Granted, I'm not surprised since this is from Dave Filoni, but I'm just disappointed. So, because I'm assuming this is just him explaining uh characters that he hadn't explained before, and this is just his way of trying to explain stuff, so that way he can get away with saying, "Oh no, I explained it in this other show that has nothing to do with this show, but if you watch this other show over here." So
He's like creating his own Star Wars Bible, pretty much.
yeah, by pissing on everybody else's. I didn't really care that much for Thrawn showing up because it felt like it was just there to be like a cameo, do nothing more than just to be like, oh yeah, here's Thrawn. Kind of like how Darth Vader was in, I think, the fourth episode. He just shows up indiscriminately. That's
And
it.
doesn't train them at
And
all.
doesn't really do anything.
We just
So
hear him in his hailer.
he's just there.
More like Rise of the Existence, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't care for that much for those three. And then the last three I thought were unneeded. Especially unneeded. Concern that
So who is why is that girl significant in the
she's not.
story?
They just know each other.
Then why is she there?
I don't know. So that way they can do a
Why did they
lesbian
explain
thing
this?
at the end. I don't know. That way they can be lesbians together because that's the only way that they will survive. I don't get like how that character changes, or like how they try to say that character changes. The sister that's like fighting Barriss Offee in the tunnel, like she's killed multiple people after what can be assumed to be an astounding career as an inquisitor. She's killed multiple innocent people, and then all of a sudden now she values Barriss Offee's life, and we're supposed to be led that she will change to some degree. Like I get like some like people, there's always a chance for people to change, but I mean Darth Vader had some remorse towards the end of what he had done. She never did. And yeah, I'm just, the only remorse that she had was that she killed Barriss because she was the one that was going to lead her out of the tunnel. So that's, I'm just confused about that whole scenario. Barriss Offee also ages like 20 years um after getting a lesbian haircut, and the Inquisitor shows up not aged a day. So I'm confused about that. But yeah,
Rage
over
makes you younger,
I guess so.
except for Count Dooku.
I don't like the two alien guys that she fights against look stupid. Was that just they look dumb as heck?
They
They
reminded
they
me a
they were the
lot of
poorest.
the two like kids that of Mega was with.
That was the poor. No, the kids with that Omega was with actually to some degree made sense. Besides the little baby kid, that one was freaky. But those two, that was the weirdest designs ever.
Dave Filoni, possibly a furry.
Yeah, possibly.
The red guy looked a little bit like me.
No, he didn't have hair on his head.
I meant beard wise.
Maybe. I don't know. It was not good. It just wasn't. And
No,
I don't know if I was expecting anything from this at all. If anything, I was hoping that
I know I
maybe it would
wasn't.
be. If anything, I was hoping. If anything, I was hoping for something that was kind of like Tales of the Jedi, where it was interesting with Dooku, and it was fun to see some of those characters be back in there. But
I haven't seen those.
the Tales of the Jedi, it ruins.
It
I don't
ruins
like it.
everyone.
I don't like that either. But I do like the parts where Dooku's there because I like Dooku. I just think it doesn't do good to his story at all.
I love Dooku.
I love Count Dooku.
He died in 3, but there was a reason.
It's bad. There's another way to put it. It's bad. It's about characters you didn't need to know or didn't care to know.
It's about side characters that are pretty irrelevant.
What could have been fun was like seeing like just random tales of like stormtroopers or something, or random tales of rebel troopers fighting stormtroopers, random tales of like stormtroopers fighting rebel troopers. Those could have been fun. But instead we got two characters that, as far as we know, one of them's dead and no longer has prominence and really didn't have that much prominence to begin with. The other character is should die, probably won't because she got stabbed in the gut like every other character that Dave Filoni's tried to say they killed and then come back to life. So she'll probably be back. There's a couple other characters that are just there now that we have no idea. There's that little furry little mini Yeti midget that kind of is with Barasafi at the end, and then the girl that's in all Eskimo clothes, and then the family. And we don't know anything about them, but we can assume that this is sometime during the Empire. So, and she's probably sending them to Ahsoka because it is a woman that's a Jedi. The only women that we know that are Jedi at this time would have been Ahsoka. So, along with that,
More
along
like
with
a
the question,
sucka,
yeah, along with the question of why isn't she helping Luke? Now we got the thing of, well,
because it's a
where
sucka.
is this? Where is this? Well, why isn't she helping Luke defeat Darth Vader, or at least train in any way? Now on top of that, now we got, well, now there's these four of the characters that know something about the Force, and yet we don't see them at all in the consular media or any of the shows leading up to the shows at all. From the movies to the next shows, like we don't see them at all. Yeah, it sucks.
Like 7, 8, and 9.
You got anything else to add? Or you got anything to
Just
add at all?
well, pretty much for me, it was more of like, why did the show like why make these 6 episodes? It's irrelevant. No one cares. All I wanted to do was watch them just because it was just there, and I was like, well, I
Because I
might as well
told you
watch
to.
these episodes.
Because I
So I'm
told you
probably
to.
gonna, if I ever, yeah, you did, yeah. But I was just like, these, honestly, you could go your whole life not having watching these episodes. But let's be honest here. If you're super bored at home and it's like 2 a.m. and you are doing absolutely nothing for the next hour and some change, go ahead, watch the show. It's not gonna matter. Grab yourself some Taco Bell, get yourself comfy, and watch the show. It's not going to be good, but at least you have the Taco Bell. That's all I'm going to say.
And as far as we can tell, this does nothing to the overall story. Whereas
No.
at least with the Dooku stuff, you got to see what led him to. It was crap. It was crap. It was horribly done. But you got to see what led him to becoming like a Sith apprentice. You got to see with Ahsoka, like her family upbringing and all that. And her escaping from, or one of her escapes from like an Inquisitor, which I thought was stupid, and apparently was also ripped off from something else Dave Filoni hadn't written, or maybe he wrote it, but he decided to do it in a different way, so he now made something again uncanonized. I don't know which one it is, but all I remember is that he definitely
But
something else was written
Payson,
beforehand, and then he redid it so that we had no longer.
the canon's always moving.
Yeah,
That's what's great about Star Wars is that the canon always moving.
much like crap in a sewage pipe, it's always moving. So I had to look this up because I could have swore I heard him wrong, but then they said it multiple times. In the fifth episode, when they find that Jedi, did you know what they called him?
Crap.
No, they called him a they.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I was like,
And it
you're
makes no
really going with
sense.
the they. You're
Yeah.
really going with the they.
Yeah. And it
I
makes no
remember
sense.
that.
I heard that and I was like, did I hear that correctly?
And it wasn't even once. They continuously
They
kept
did it
on
like
doing
three
it.
or four times that episode.
Like
Yeah.
they were just there. I'm like,
They
you're
could
already
have left. They could have
assuming.
gone with us. They didn't have to die. I didn't get that at all until I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Was he like a
Nope, just a random character that decided to put in that it was a non-binary Jedi, which makes no sense. That uses they them pronouns for some reason. Even though this is in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago, they're going to use current day politics. That makes sense. Anyway, what would you rank this?
one?
That's a good ranking. I'll
You
go with
don't
that.
need to watch.
You
Honestly,
don't.
to
You really
everyone
don't.
listening,
It's a waste of
you
time.
don't need to watch it.
It's a waste of time. It really is. Like at least with some of the other stuff, you could argue that. You could argue that
Like at
it
least with
has
Bad Batch, it could potentially be something.
like some of the
Like
characters.
especially in like the Omega thing, because
Yeah, and
you
like
don't know
some of
what
the
Omega's
older.
gonna do.
And D. Bradley Baker is fun, and he's good with his character voice acting, and the characters that were previously done that weren't written or weren't brought in specifically by Dave Filoni and were kind of brought in under the George Lucas Clone Wars stuff. Those guys are fun, but the rest of the stuff it's bad. This is nothing but bad. So
Yep.
Barasoffy turns on a dime, even though she's supposed to be a Sith, she turns relatively quickly, and it's not explicitly said whether or not that this is their
Because she
first mission
killed
or like a couple missions along the way.
because
But
she
she
killed
would
people using the Force.
only that one guy that she trained, and that could be argued she was protecting herself. But it could also be
Yeah.
argued that she could have just disarmed him and not choked him to death.
Yeah.
So
But she overused the
it also
Force.
doesn't make any sense why they didn't think of, there's a lightsaber, the thing up there, you can cut anything with a lightsaber. Just turn the sucker on, force throw it up there, and use the force to circle around it, make a hole, break the system that's making a ray that's coming in circular wise, and you both escape. I don't.
Wait, say it again.
Okay, so there's a lightsaber in there,
Uh huh.
and then they have a giant circular ray that's coming in and will kill them, right? Or
Right.
essentially crush them to death.
Right.
They have a lightsaber. The system up there doesn't seem, they don't even make an attempt to even attack it. So they could take the lightsaber, they could turn it on with the force and then throw it up there and damage the system.
Probably.
They don't even attempt that.
No. They
So
fought.
was on characters that we didn't care to watch again, characters that we didn't need to watch again, that we didn't even
I
need to
can't wait for
know.
them to make a show about them.
Well, Barasafi, will be in Ahsoka season 2.
Who?
Barasafi. I wouldn't be surprised if she is in Ahsoka season 2.
Probably.
Or in like some ancillary media or ancillary show coming later down the pipeline. I'm pretty sure that Inquisitor lady that killed Barasafi will might show up in a show later on as a good guy. Don't
Probably.
ask me how that makes sense because it won't. Yeah, it's ones all around.
The only thing I could say that was good was the animation.
Yeah,
There were arguments though that I will say that the animation wasn't good, especially on Grievous. I thought it was okay. That's
I
the
thought
only
it was
thing that
okay.
was actually good was the animation.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I just didn't like the way I didn't care to see us watch a story about Morgan. I didn't care to watch the origin story of Morgan Elsbeth. I kind of got the idea watching the show what she was, even though they crappily said it in the show. You could piece it together as what she was in Mandalorian for the Ahsoka show, and then she was in the Mandalorian for that Ahsoka episode, and then she was in the Ahsoka show, and that was it. Her character is dead, and we now got the origins of her character, and it was just about as important as her character. Not at all. Most annoying thing in that whole stupid. And then Barris Offee, we assumed her to have died when the like she's a force user. So either she became an Inquisitor or she would have died. People thought she was that Sith Inquisitor that was in Rebels, and she wasn't. So, which would have made sense. I don't know why they didn't just go that route. That would have made some sense, but they said it not to use her. So people just assumed, okay, she must have rejoined the Jedi. And the deleted scene in episode 3 where she is killed by a clone battalion must be now canon. That's no longer the case because now we've got a story of her turning Inquisitor, and then her first mission where she turns Inquisitor, she flees because she's a hero again after she killed like a whole bunch of people during that Clone Wars episode. So I don't get any of this stuff at all.
So what you're saying is she could be that she could have been the Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels.
She could have, and it would have made sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for watching this episode of Galactic Reviews. Join us next time on Galactic Reviews.
Bye.